I remember a while ago either reading or listening to the Christian book author and apologist Greg Koukl. I believe you heard about him, right? So I think it was him when he was defending the faith, so to speak, when it comes to this topic. And you mentioned, well, you gave a good expression of so-called ethnic cleansing. He said that this was basically, like you said, just a form of speech, like go and annihilate these people. If Israel literally would have done those things, then later when we read the Bible, we wouldn't see the same people or the same clans coming and still existing later. So for Greg and some other Christian apologists, like, well, no, this was uh, it meant, like you said, like the total victory, but like it's not that 100% of certain clan was completely destroyed. That's not the case. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And second thing, this could be just my assumption, better than me, but I think there must be a relation. Whenever God would say to his people, go and annihilate these people, go and devote them to destruction to me, I think, unless I'm wrong, that this will be mostly giant clans. So this comes to the corrupted image of God, to the corrupted DNA. I don't think that he sent his people to destroy just common, regular uh, people, nation, ethnicity. I think that all of these clans that were destroyed, they had to do with the giants. And if this is true, I think this brings a very important, if not crucial, context. Why would God continue this spiritual warfare against this corrupted image of God and corrupted DNA? And then for me, that gives, if true, it gives perfect background as why would God go and send people to deal with these clans? Because they were uh, not I can't say they were innocent in their sins, because none of us and our ancestors were innocent. But if they were truly a people of, descendants of giants, then it has to do something more spiritual and more corrupted, more wicked than just regular sinful people. Is this something that you would agree or not?
Yeah, absolutely. It's important actually to recognize that, because when you look at the nations outside of Israel, you can't say, well, they were guilty of breaking the law. The Israelite law doesn't apply to people outside of Israel, right? It just doesn't. I mean, you're speaking to me from America. I'm in Australia, right? I can't say to you, well, you don't follow Australian law, so you should fall under the weight of the you know uh, Australian legal system. Like, it doesn't apply. So there's got to be some other reason why these people were subject to judgment, right? And that means that we've got to come back to something that predates Jewish law. Okay, so then we get back to the Noahic covenant. Okay, Genesis 9, and the idea that whosoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. And God actually says, I will demand an accounting from every beast for the blood of man. Okay, so non human entities are subject to judgment at the hand of man for the killing and oppression of human beings. Okay, so when you realize that, you go, oh, that means that any person who has sacrificed their humanity by attempting to achieve divinity through these occultic rituals and whatnot, they've they've given up on what makes them human in order to try and achieve divinity, and they're now using it to oppress humans. The judgment of God is going to come upon them as per Genesis 9, and it's going to come at the hand of man, which is exactly what Joshua's people were doing. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's really important that we keep that Noahic covenant in mind, because it really gives us a lot of explanatory power for what's going on in the conquest. And it's interesting too, on a different note, to look at the way that the overturning of civilization and the establishment of a new order gets described in ancient literature, because you have usually the idea of warfare and destruction on a grand scale gets talked about in terms of um, some great cataclysm, usually a flood. And it's very interesting that we have all this talk of violence in Genesis 6, and then we get a flood. We have people who survive by crossing over the water, Noah and his family, and the establishment of a new order that follows. Right? Then we get to the conquest narrative. We have people crossing the water. Then we have this violence, and then we have the establishment of new order as the Israelites settle into the land. So just some attention to ancient literary conventions helps us to see some of what's going on in terms of genre and what they're doing with those narratives.